Good afternoon, students. So, I have been discussing with you the chapter, the Constitution, where we are discussing about the constitutions, the different type of constitution, written, unwritten, rigid, flexible, evolved, enacted. And we have discussed the merits and demerits also. Now, in your book, merits and demerits of evolved and enacted is not there. So I will send it through the WhatsApp notes, that is study material. Today what we will discuss is the real difference between rigid and flexible constitution. Now, as you all know, that the flexible constitution is one in which the ordinary law and the constitutional law are placed on the same footing, in this sense that both are enacted in the same way and both proceed from the same source. The rigid constitution possesses a special and a higher status standing above the ordinary law. So, in case of rigid constitution, the process of amendment of the constitutional law is different than that of the ordinary law. That is, ordinary law and constitutional law cannot be amended in the same way. Next, a flexible constitution can be written or unwritten and not necessarily an unwritten one. So we should not have the misconception that the flexible constitution is always unwritten. Likewise, a rigid constitution is not always a written constitution. You see, Indian constitution is written. Indian constitution is a written constitution, and yet it has been working as a flexible constitution with 102 amendments. Today, till date, it has 104 or 5 amendments have already taken place. Britain has an unwritten constitution, and it has reflected a degree of rigidity in its operation. The passing of the first Reforms Act of 1832 was passed with great deal of difficulties and efforts involving securing people's mandate. As such, the difference between flexible and rigid constitution is not that of written or unwritten character, but in respect of the nature of their amending processes. A flexible constitution can be amended easily, while a rigid constitution can be amended by difficult process. The US Constitution is a rigid constitution, and only 27 amendments have been made till date. However, it has been continuously developing and changing with the help of several other means, that is, congressional interpretations, presidential interpretations, judicial interpretations, and decisions and emergence of several conventions. Thus, in practice, any constitution can work as a rigid or a flexible constitution. So, it doesn't depend only on one factor. Next, we will discuss about the process of amendment of the American Constitution. Now, as I have discussed in the online class, the process of amendment of the American Constitution is of two types. The first is the proposal stage, and then is the ratification stage. In the proposal stage, amendment proposal can be made, adopted by two-thirds majority vote by the two houses of the US Congress, and each house has to vote separately. Amendment proposal, or in the first process, that is the proposal method, amendment proposal can be adopted by a constitutional convention, which may be summoned by the US Congress when two-thirds of the state legislatures may make such a request. So, in 1919, such type of a case was there, in which it stopped the sale of alcohol. That was the 18th amendment. That was the 18th amendment in 1919, to stop the sale of alcohol. And another stage, that is known as the ratification stage. The ratification stage is an amendment proposal which clears the first stage goes in for ratification. There are again two alternative methods of ratification. It can be done by the parliament of 3/4 of the seats, 3/4 of the state legislature, or by special convention in 3/4 of that state of the US Federation. So these are the two methods of amendment of the US Constitution. Now we will discuss about the process of amendment of the Indian Constitution. Now, as we know that the Indian Constitution, so far as amendment is concerned, is partly rigid and partly flexible. Why it is known as partly rigid? Because some laws are very difficult to amend. And why it is flexible? Because some laws are easily amended. So it is a mixture of rigidity and flexibility. So let us discuss about the three basic ways in which most of the amendments can be made. The first is, many amendments can be made by simple majority. Then, so it is a part flexible. Many can be done by simple majority. Some can be done by the 2/3 majority. That if both the houses of the parliament and the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha passes the resolution by 2/3 majority, then the amendment can be done. And the most difficult method, that is the special method, when some laws which are passed by both the houses of parliament as well as by more than half of the state legislatures. Say for example, at present we have 28 states, so more than 14 states will have to approve it. So that is why it is known as that Indian Constitution is partly rigid and partly flexible. So these are the different methods. Now we have another portion that is known as convention. Today only in your morning class I have explained you about the conventions. So let me explain conventions. According to J.S. Mill, it is unwritten maxims of the Constitution, and notice jurist Dicey describes these as conventions of the Constitution. Convention means which are unwritten laws, which are not written in the form of a book, but it has been followed. So every country, including, we are concerned about USA, UK and India, all these three countries follows different type of conventions. All these three follows the different type of conventions. Now, importance of conventions also I have given you today, I have dictated. Now there are conventions of the US Constitution. Now so far as the conventions of USA, UK is concerned, you can do that, and we will discuss about the conventions of the US Constitution and the Indian Constitution. Presidential cabinet rests on convention. That means in the United States, the cabinet, they do not have a cabinet system, but the cabinet is being created by the president, and it is according to a convention. There are no such laws in the Constitution, it is according to the convention. Convention regarding presidential elections are also, it is not mentioned in the Constitution, but it is done according to the conventions. Conventions of not having president and vice president from the same region or the same state. So that is also a convention, that the president and the vice president cannot be from the same state, or for that matter cannot be from the same region. Now, party primaries and national conventions, these are, you don't have to do number 4. Number 5, origin and growth of political parties. In America there is a bi-party system, that is the Republicans and the Democrats. So these are also a part of the convention. Convention relating to the office of the speaker, as in the morning I said that in America the speaker is a directly party member. He is the leader of the party, so he represents the American House of Representatives. Residential qualification for the members of the House of Representatives. The members of the House of Representatives will not only be the member of a state, but be the member of that particular constituency from which he is representing. So there are so many conventions, he will do 5 or 6. And now we have the Convention of India, that is the governor of a state has to be from a different state. That is a convention. There is no such rule, but the governor of the state must not be from he should not be a resident of that state, he should be from outside. Next, before appointing a person as the governor of the state, the chief minister has to be taken into confidence, so that the relationship between the two is good. Another convention which seems to be developing in that the change of party in power at the center leads to the change of the state governors. Like for example, at present the BJP is in power, so most of the states having governors are BJP minded people, or they are loyal to the BJP. Now the moment if the party in the center changes, suppose Congress comes, then what will happen? Then in most of the states the governors will be appointed those who are loyal to the Congress. The president appoints the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha as the prime minister. This is a convention. The prime minister can be from either house of the parliament. This is a convention. We have seen in future, in past, that I.K. Gujral, H.D. Devegowda, the Manmohan Singh, they were all from the Rajya Sabha. The neutrality of the Indian speaker in the Lok Sabha is again a convention. So in this way, India also has certain conventions. So we have, with this we come to the end of this chapter. Next day we will, as I have said, that we will start with the Indian Constitution, the preamble and the Indian Constitution. Till then, all of you take care of yourself, go through the video properly. Have a nice day. Thank you.